Hey y'all, and welcome back to Country Glamour. I am feeling very sassy in this video, so don't mind me and all my faces and everything that I do. So I'm using the Morphe 350 palette. I'm going to be using a like creamsicle shade, and then I'm going to be using a light orange shade. And I just have this Sonia Kashuk blending brush, and I'm just putting this on my eye in the crease. And I'm just putting a little bit. You can see me kind of slightly winging it out. I'm not going to put very much product on there. I'm just putting a little bit. I'm going to do that on both sides, and again in circular motions. And this is going to be my transition color because I'm going to be doing a very fiery look. So I hope that y'all like it. So now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and grab the Morphe Jaclyn Hill Favorites palette. I'm going to get a different brush. I will link it in the description below. It's a Morphe brush, and I'm going to be using that dark purplish maroon shade. Now I'm also going to be grabbing the Morphe 35U palette, and I'm going to be grabbing both of those red shades. Now this has glitter in it, but the glitter isn't as pigmented in these shades, so that's good to go for me. I don't want it to be super shimmery, but this does add enough in there. I have no idea what happened to my 35C palette. I thought I gave it to my mother, but she says she doesn't have it, so that kind of stinks for me. Anyways, I'm going to be putting that in my crease. And you can see it's pretty thick, and this is like more of a pink shade, and I want it to be more fiery and gritty and just down to business. So I've got another Morphe brush. I'm just basically going over that, and why I'm doing that is so that it blends out a little bit better. Now I'm going to actually be grabbing my Beauty Blender and my Coty Airspun translucent powder. I'm going to be going at the edge of my eye of where I want to make my wing. I'm putting this translucent powder there because whenever I put on my eyeshadow, it blends out and it just makes it look like I have just that straight line right there, which is exactly what I want. I want it to kind of have a line and winged out just slightly. So after that, I'm going to grab another Morphe brush, and I'm going to use a dark orange cream shade out of the Jaclyn Hill Favorites palette, and I am just going over where I put that pink before because I want it, like I said, to be a little bit smokier and fiery and gritty. So the way I'm doing that is I'm grabbing that orange shade and I'm just going over it. That way it just adds a little bit more oomph to it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean. So then I got my Sonia Kashuk brush and just going back over, and I'm just blending it out. If you see me talking to myself, it's because my husband came home and he's just in the room with me. So if I look like I'm going crazy, I already am, but hey, I am talking to my husband, so at least I have a valid reason. So now I'm going to use the Maybelline concealer. And it doesn't really matter what shade you use, but this is just a lip gloss wand that I have for my clients, but I am going to use it for different purposes. I went ahead and put some of that concealer on my eye, and now I'm going to put it basically to my crease, and I'm going to make a semi-cut crease. It's not going to be a sharp cut crease, but it's going to be a semi-cut crease. I want it to be pretty bold and cut in the inner corner of my eye, and then I want it to slowly blend back into the crease. So you'll see how I do that in this next step. So right now what I'm doing is I'm just basically putting that concealer all over my lid, and like I said, up to my crease. I'm making a perfect line of how I want that to be. So once I do that, I'm actually going to grab the Coty Airspun translucent powder, and I'm going to go back over that because this is very creamy concealer and it will transfer to your crease. And since I have that crease exactly how I want it, I don't want that issue. You'll see on my next eye where the concealer transfers up to my crease and how I fixed it, just in case if that does happen to you. I didn't purposely do it, but I felt like putting it in there because it happened to me. It could happen to you. So like I said, I put that translucent powder on there so that it kind of makes it more powdery and easier to apply. And now what I'm doing is I just have a random flat brush, and I have my vitamin E setting spray from the Body Shop. I'm going to be using the Jaclyn Hill Favorites palette, and what I'm using here is a light pink shadow, which I'm not really sure why I grabbed this one. I don't think I knew what I was doing for a moment, but then I decided to actually grab the Morphe 35U palette, and I'm going to be using a orange shade out of there because, like I said, I want this to be a fiery look. So as you can see, I'm using that orange, and my brush is a little bit wet, so it sticks a lot better and it makes it a lot shinier. And like I said, these shades have glitter in them, so they're not matte, which is nice because I wanted a little bit of shimmer on my lid. So you can see I'm just putting that, making sure that I don't go above that line that I made for myself on the concealer. So I'm then going to spritz it again on the opposite side. I'm sorry if you can hear my cat meowing. And then I'm going to grab that bright yellow from the Morphe 35U palette. And if you don't know, yellow is my favorite color of all time. I just think it's such a pretty color, just screams happiness and fun and beautiful to me. And there's actually a Nicki Minaj tutorial that I kind of want to do where she does like yellow eyeshadow, and she's got this yellow background and it's absolutely mesmerizing. So anyway, I'm putting that yellow in my inner corner, and then I've got a different shade now. It's like a mauve color, and I'm putting that at the outer corner, as you can see. And what I'm doing is I'm blending that up into the crease. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm kind of patting it into that crease. So it goes from inner corner to outer corner, yellow, orange, and then this mauvey, purpley red, and it just blends right into that crease, which is exactly how I wanted it to go. Now I just have a little definer brush from Morphe, and I dipped it in that red that I initially used for the crease, and I'm just going back over that line so that it stands out a little bit more. I'm not applying too much pressure because I don't want it to be an obvious line right there, but I did want it to look like I obviously have a cut crease, which is what I wanted. Like I said, it's more cut crease on the inner corner, and then as it goes towards the outer corner, it starts fading out. So that's what I'm doing right now. And then I'm just kind of blending out that crease, and then ever so slightly adding a little bit of a line so that that cut crease stands out a little bit more. And I feel like it looked really good. I'm actually really happy with how this look turned out. It turned out way better than I hoped it would. I had practiced this a few times before I recorded, and this is completely opposite from any of the other tries that I did, because usually I like to practice a look before I film it so that I make sure that I have it exactly the way I want, and I just go through the process instead of sitting there twiddling my thumbs going, well, I don't really know what shade to use next, and then wasting y'all's time and having to edit it out a bunch. So anyways, I'm just making some touch-ups on a few parts, and it's good to go for a liner. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to get that brush that I use for my crease, that Morphe brush, and I'm just putting this underneath my eye. So you can see where that eyeshadow from my crease wings out. I am connecting it to my bottom lash line. And this is just the same shade that I used for the crease. It's just a little bit less product. So now I'm going to brush all of that translucent powder away with my Morphe S9 brush, and you can see how it makes that line stand out, and it's a nice, full, beautiful crease. So now I'm actually going to be using the Inglot AMC Gel Liner. This is the creamiest, best, black, perfect matte liner that I can think of. The only issue I have with it, and I've talked about it in past tutorials, is that it does transfer to my crease sometimes if my lids are a little bit oily, but I really like how this turned out. So I'm going basically where I have that line on my crease, and I'm going to follow that with my liner. So I'm going to make that little wing, that edge right there, and then I'm going to slowly go ahead and put my liner on in a straight line. And you can just see how like effortlessly this glides on, and that's what I love. I did have an old package whenever I reviewed the Inglot liner last time, and that package was a little bit dried up, so I did end up ordering a new one. I think it's like $11 or so, maybe a little bit less. I'm not quite sure. Maybe 11 with shipping. I don't know. But it's like super creamy, and I barely have to dip my brush in there at all, which I love that. I've tried using liquid liner, I've tried using pencil liner, but gel liner is my absolute favorite because I can do it with my brush. So I'm just grabbing a little bit of that white shade from the 35U and I'm putting it in the inner corner, and then I'm going to bring my eyeliner all the way into my inner corner with a very narrow liner. Now I have my liner exactly how I want it on the top, and now I'm going to just put a little bit of that liner on the bottom lash line, only in that corner, just barely any, and then I'm going to grab the same brush that I used for my crease and I'm going to blend out just a little bit of that way it's like a darker shade, but it's like a darker smoky color on the bottom. So then I'm obviously going to grab my eyelash curler and curl my eyelashes. I'm doing like 10 quick motions and then I'm going to like stamp it down twice. And now I'm going to grab my Lancome Grandiose Extreme Mascara and I'm going to apply that like I would normally. I usually do this mascara with the brush facing this direction where it's bent downwards, and then I'm going to twist it around so that way it's actually the wand is facing upwards where the curve is on the higher end. Do you know what I mean? Where it looks like a little L where the wand is. I'm going to flip it around so then it looks like a, yeah, just like I did right now. Sorry, it's really hard to describe that, but basically one side volumizes while the other one coats, and the one that I just had it on a few minutes ago, that volumizes it. You can tell it's kind of pushing up those lashes. And I'm just grabbing a mascara wand. It doesn't have any product on it. Again, I use this for my clients. This is obviously one that hasn't been used. And I'm going to kind of separate my lashes because sometimes if I put on mascara, it will, even as good as mascara as you can get, sometimes my mascara or my lashes get a little bit clumped from me putting the eyeliner on them. And so I have to separate them because if I put the mascara on, it just starts clumping over top of that eyeliner. So I usually have to separate it. Now I'm obviously putting mascara on the bottom lashes there. And once that is done, I feel like we're pretty much ready to get this show on the road and do the other side. So I'm going to zoom in on the other side and I'm going to stop talking and just let y'all watch so that you can see for yourselves what I do. now that my brows are done and my eyes, I also put on some false lashes. I obviously had foundation on before I ever started doing my eyes in the first place, but I'm using the Aesthetica Cosmetics Contour Kit, and I'm using the shade furthest to the left on the bottom row, and you can see I'm like hitting pan on that. I need to get a new one. And I'm just basically contouring my cheeks. I'm not going to make it anything crazy. I'm just putting a little bit of color on my cheeks, my temples, and then a little bit around my jawline. This is from the BH Cosmetics Blush Palette, and I'm just going to put a little bit, mix two different shades together, like a dark rosy red pink and then a lighter pink, and I mix those two shades together, and now my face is definitely blushed. So I didn't want it to come as far in as I made it, so I'm going to grab a little bit of my beauty blender. It has some of that translucent powder, and I'm just going to go over those spots, and you can tell it kind of lightened it up a little bit, which is what I was after. So now I have a Morphe brush, and I'm going to use the Anastasia Beverly Hills Nicole Glow Kit. And I'm using Forever Lit on the inner corner. Even though I had that white eyeshadow in the corner, I felt like I needed a little bit of something to lighten it up a little bit more and make it shimmer. So now I'm using Glow Getter on my underbrow highlight. And all these shades are just gorgeous. Oh my gosh, I love all the shades. If you haven't seen my review of this product, you can check out one of my other videos. I'll link it in the description below for you guys to see my review of that product. I'm putting a little bit on my Cupid's bow of Glow Getter. And then I'm going to grab Kitty Cat. I believe it's Kitty Cat. Yeah, on my other Morphe brush. And I'm going to go ahead and put that on my cheeks, my forehead, my chin, and then a little bit on my Cupid's bow and my nose. And I felt like this would be appropriate because it's got a little bit of pink, rosy undertones to it. And I'm going to use the shade Bumble. And this is from ColourPop Cosmetics. This is one of their ultra matte liquid lipsticks. And they are not joking whenever they say that these are matte. Now, I did not want a matte look for this, but I decided to go ahead and do this anyway, and then I will top it off with some nude lipstick. So this color stands out a little bit, but at least there's a little bit of nude lipstick that goes over it, and the nude lipstick that goes over it is kind of a sheer nude, so it just looks better. And I a little bit overlined my lips on my Cupid's bow on my right side because my lips are a little bit uneven. There's one side I usually have to overline just a slight bit. So I have to fix that here in a second. I just basically put some concealer on it and called it good, and then reapplied it. Reapplied my highlighter and then reapplied the ultra matte liquid lipstick. Just like so. Because it wasn't a big deal. It's something that was easily fixed. Listening to the radio on my way home, and I can't get that Ed Sheeran In Love with the Shape of You song out of my head, and it's driving me nuts. I want to just bust out and sing it right now, but I'm recording this, so I can't just start singing this song. That's your random thought with Angelica for the day. So as you can see, I'm still lining and applying that liquid lipstick, and I do like these. I just wish, I mean, I know that they're ultra matte, but I wish they didn't dry and flake off so easily. I've noticed that with a few of my products. I don't know why. So this is going to be the, I believe it's Loreal, the Jennifer's Nude. And I'm just putting that all over my lips after I put on that ColourPop. And you can see it just kind of gives it a sheer matte, or sheer nude with like a pink undertone for it, which is what I was going for. So now as the reveal, after I take my hair down, I feel like no look is ever complete unless I take my hair down. So I hope that y'all enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you want to see more videos like this. Leave me a comment of your feedback. And if you want to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing because I do make videos just about every single week. So I love you guys. Thank you so much for watching Country Glamour, and y'all have a most beautiful, gorgeous day. Mwah.